Islam Makhachev recently did an interview with New York Post Sports YouTube channel, and a clip was taken wildly out of context. And we're going to take a look at that clip in this video. And we're also going to take a look at the full clip and the full context from the full interview, which I will have linked down in the description if you want to go check out the full 13-minute interview. But this clip was circulated online by all the MMA Instagrams and the MMA Twitters that all they do is just basically poach clips and reshare news, and sometimes it's fake news. And this really whipped up the fan base into a frenzy, and more specifically, the subset of fans that hate the Dagestani fighters, the subset of fans that hate the Muslim fighters, really got tight, really got bent out of shape about this clip. So we're going to look at the original clip that was posted by multiple different accounts, and then we're going to look at the real interview where we give full context, because it is completely ridiculous how badly people were hating on Islam Makhachev because of what he said in this interview if you actually watch the interview instead of the 20 seconds that was posted online. Whenever I see a clip, whenever I see something on Twitter, Instagram, you know what I always do? And this is a good rule of thumb in case you're not doing this. If you care enough to hate on it, if you care enough to support it, if you care enough about it at all, seek out the original source and watch at least a good portion of it, whatever it may be, for full context. That's why I encourage you. I will link the full interview down in the description if you want to go check it out for full context and not just the clips that I show you when I give you context. But before we get into the actual clip, I've said this before 6 months ago, 10 months ago, a year ago. I'll say it again. Islam Makhachev is one of the most underappreciated and overhated UFC champions on the roster. And it's really starting to piss me off. The common tropes that are trotted out over and over and over again about Islam Makhachev. It's like, the Dagestani haters, the Muslim fans haters, or the Muslim fighter haters. It's like they have a list of talking points that they keep just regurgitating over and over and over again. We're going to go through that at the end of the video. But let's start right away. Let's start right away with a clip from the New York Post interview. This was widely circulated around on social media. And this was the clip. This 25-second clip is what everyone was criticizing. It's Islam Makhachev in this clip essentially saying, I'm not fighting anyone at lightweight after Dustin Poirier. I want a welterweight title shot. And that's really not what he was actually saying in the interview. But let's listen to the clip, and then we'll come back to it later when we actually check out the full interview. But let's listen.
Honestly, I don't have any excited fight, because Dustin have just one fight win streak, and we have Arman. I already beat these guys. I don't have some job in my division, my opinion, honestly. And I think I have chance. They have to give me chance for the second belt, because I already beat the old guy.
So there you go. This has 1.5 million views on Twitter. 1.5 million views. And everyone all bent out of shape about it, crying, whining, saying Islam's ducking contenders. No matter what Islam does, Islam could beat the entire 15 in one calendar year, and for some reason, these same fans that are just perpetual haters would cry and whine. It doesn't matter what he does. Let's go look at the actual interview. Okay, let's look at the actual interview. By the way, again, this is the New York Post Sports. I will link the full interview down in the description. If you want to go check it out, go support them, go, view the original source yourself. But let's listen to what he has to say. Okay, we're going to listen to a couple different clips. We're going to start off with, do you want to fight Max Holloway? That's the question, but listen very carefully to the answer, because this was literally, I'm going to show you the next clip I'm going to show you after this is going to be the portion of what you just watched from the Twitter video that I showed you that was circulated wildly on social media. So this is roughly 35 seconds. Roughly 35 seconds before the clip I just showed you on Twitter. Listen to this.
If he beat couple more guys in my division, we can fight. But I don't want to give him chance now, because I have some contenders who I have to beat. Now I have Dustin. After we have Arman. I think I have some job in my division. He have job in his division.
I have Dustin, I have Arman, I have a job in my division, he has a job in his division. Again, the question was, are you shocked that Max Holloway hasn't angled for a lightweight title shot? He'd rather fight Topuria? And I think it was, would you want to fight Max Holloway? That was his answer. He says, oh, well, I have Dustin and Arman, and then maybe after I beat those guys, maybe then Max Holloway, if he wins another couple fights or he beats Topuria and becomes featherweight champion, maybe then. And he goes on a little bit more here.
Maybe if he win his next fight, maybe he beats Tapuria and I finish all my 2 fights. Maybe. But I want my dream fight. I have to fight for the next division, 170. I have to fight with Leon Edwards.
So there you go. And then he says, my dream is to fight Leon Edwards. So I just paused that clip. I just want to show you full context here, okay? I want you to understand the proximity between these two clips because I have timestamps. I'm skipping ahead. What I just played for you was from 7 minutes, 36 seconds to 8 minutes and 18 seconds. The next clip I'm going to show you, which is basically the clip from the Twitter video that was circulating on every MMA Twitter, every MMA Instagram, starts at 8:55. 8:55. What I just showed you was 7:36 to 8:18. So we're going to jump ahead to 8:55, and we're going to hear, right after what you just heard, what Islam said and what was clipped out of context, essentially. Listen to this.
Honestly, I don't have like any like excited fight because Dustin have just 1 fight win streak and we have Arman. I already beat these guys. I don't have some job in my division, my opinion, honestly. And I think I have chance. They have to give me chance for the second belt because I already beat the old guy.
So again, he's talking about he wants to fight for the welterweight title, and he's saying, in my opinion, I don't have exciting fights because Dustin's only on a 1-fight win streak. I already beat Arman. Now, he's not saying he's not going to fight him, but he's saying he wants to fight for the welterweight title, and he's saying there's not really that many exciting fights in the lightweight division in terms of these contenders on a long win streak or someone that jumps off the page in the lightweight division. Islam Makhachev, if you've seen any of his interviews, he's brutally honest. He says what he thinks. He's not one of these guys out there writing scripts, paying hobos, a couple bucks or some guy at a Family Dollar to pay for a script, to talk crap on a boat he probably rented and, talk about someone's wife. He's just being honest here. I'm not super excited about these fights. And he says this again. I'm going to show you another clip where he talks about it again, where you can truly understand it. But those two clips were back to back, essentially. There was 30-second span in between there. It was mainly the guy asking a question. But instead, people clip it out and they're saying, oh, he doesn't want to fight anyone at lightweight. No, he's saying he doesn't really have any like crazy, exciting matchups at lightweight. There's no real surging contender right now. That's what he's saying there. And he says it again a little bit in this next clip where he's asked about potentially fighting in Abu Dhabi. And also what he says here is he dispels another talking point where a lot of people say, oh, he's inactive. Listen to this. And this is something this is drama I've been beating for 6 months. Listen to this.
Yeah. Honestly, after my last fight in October, I told the UFC I'm going to be ready in March before the Ramadan. And I was ready in March, but nobody can take the fight,
He wanted to fight in March. People are like, oh, Islam barely fights. Islam never fights. He was vocal. He was adamant that he wanted to fight in March. So whose fault is that? That's the UFC's fault for poor planning. Not getting him on 299 before Ramadan. That's the UFC's fault, not his.
But that time we don't have some opponent, And that's why I told I think I did all the job with my division because my division in the rankings, the top 5, they already beat each other,
So again, he's talking about the contenders and he's kind of saying the way he feels about the contenders, nobody's a surging contender. Nobody's on a long win streak. Nobody's super deserving of a lightweight title shot outside of Arman, but he's saying, oh, I already beat Arman, but he even says I'm going to fight Arman again in a second. Listen to this.
That's why I need some new challenge, some new opponents, some new belt.
Okay, so he talks about the new belt. That's not the part where he mentions Arman again. He's going to mention Arman here in a second. I'm going to skip ahead just a few more seconds. Literally, I'm only skipping ahead like 5 seconds, where he talks about, I'm going to fight Arman again, and then I'm going to move up for the welterweight title.
Yeah, I'm not underestimating,
He's saying I'm not underestimating Dustin Poirier, by the way.
but I think I have to finish this guy and one more fight because I think Arman is gonna be next, and that's it. And I need my second belt.
So he's going to fight Dustin. He's going to fight Arman. And then he wants to move up for a welterweight title. He made that very clear multiple times through the course of a 13-minute interview. But instead, these MMA Twitter accounts who just look for engagement, who are usually verified, looking to make monetary gain, and want to throw red meat for a certain portion of the fan base, they post a different clip. Oh, I don't want to fight Dustin. I don't want to fight Arman. I just want my welterweight title shot. Now, that's pretty much it for the clips. But we're going to talk about something else, because I see, again, it's like a list of talking points. It's a list of talking points, and it's just regurgitated over and over and over again. Let's start off with number one. I've been hearing this time and time again, and when I hear this, I want to curb stomp some of these fans. People say, well, how about you defend against a real lightweight first? This guy has 2 title defenses against a 45er, and now he wants to move up. Are you guys stupid? Are you, the people saying this, are you genuinely stupid, or are you just that much of a hater? Because he took on Alexander Volkanovski, who was pound for pound number 1 at the time that he beat him. And then I believe the second time around, when he took him on short notice, I believe Volk was pound for pound number 2 because Jones took his spot. And then he knocked him out. And then after the first one, a bunch of people were claiming robbery when Islam Makhachev won pretty clearly. I either had a 3-2 or 4-1. I think 4-1 is totally justifiable. And the majority of that fight, he outstruck Alexander Volkanovski. But people focused on limited damage on the ground. Oh, he barely did any damage on the ground, so he shouldn't have won certain rounds. Let me just say this again. If you think that Alexander Volkanovski won the first fight against Islam Makhachev, you are delusional, and you are so biased, it's not even worth having this argument again over a year later. Then you also have another argument, but the one about the 45er is just crazy. Volk is one of the best in the world. Volk weighed in at 155. Volk, in my opinion, was tougher than half of the lightweight challengers. When Islam beats Dustin, because unless something fluky happens, I suspect he will beat Dustin. It's a horrible matchup stylistically for Dustin, but you never know. But when he does beat Dustin, if he does beat Dustin, it'll be like, well, Dustin's washed up, and everyone knows Dustin has no grappling. If he would have fought Gaethje in March before Gaethje fought Max, it would have been, oh, Gaethje doesn't have any grappling. Everyone knows that. And even after the first time he beat Volkanovski, people were not only claiming robbery, they were also claiming with zero evidence that Islam Makhachev cheated. I've already covered that extensively. Dan Hooker was just salty, sour grapes from Dan Hooker. I'm so tired of hearing this because Islam Makhachev, in my opinion, some of these fighters you can say, oh, well, he is kind of annoying, so I understand why the fan base wants to kind of contrive, made up things to hate on him. Islam Makhachev, in my opinion, is just there. He's pretty exciting. People, the Dagestani haters, they're grapplers. Islam, arguably, right now, may be the best striker in the UFC. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's only because of the threat of the takedown. Well, guess what? This is MMA striking. Maybe arguably the best striker in the UFC. Then he knocks out Volkanovski in the rematch, and they're like, oh, well, Volk only took it on short notice. I mean, these are the same talking points we hear over and over and over again about Islam Makhachev. You hear also he's inactive. I hear people saying, Islam barely fights. Islam was adamant. He was vocal. He was outspoken last year. He wanted to fight more last year. Because of the UFC schedule and the way the UFC wanted to matchmake him, it didn't happen. Then he came out literally at the beginning of this year, said, I want to fight in March. I covered this extensively on the channel. I want to fight in the summer, and then I want to fight in the fall. slash winter. He said maybe October, maybe November. He even suggested Madison Square Garden, but Islam's inactive. Most champions are only fighting twice a year. He's advocating every year for the last 2 years that he wants to fight 3 times, but for some reason people don't want to hear that either. Oh, he's just inactive. Then you hear also, oh, this guy beat Bobby Green to get a title shot. He was on a long win streak. He was dominating everyone. He was match made against elite level competition. And for one reason or another, those fights didn't happen. The majority of the time, 99% of the time, through no fault of his own. And then it doesn't matter anymore. You can't talk about his resume anymore because he defeated Charles Oliveira, absolutely dominated Charles Oliveira and stopped him. Then he beat Alexander Volkanovski, the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, who, by the way, with the rehydration, weighed more than him on fight day. Weighed more than him. Then beats Volkanovski again on short notice, which that was a lose-lose. I talked about that then. Oh, if he beats him, he beat a short notice featherweight. If he loses, it would have been, oh, Islam's a bum. Islam's washed up. I'm just so tired of hearing these same talking points. You hear, oh, he's a weight bully. Oh, well, wait a second. He doesn't want to fight people in his own division. He wants to go up to welterweight. Well, I thought he's a weight bully. And then the people calling him boring, which we already kind of went through, but the people talking about, oh, he's a grappler, he's boring. First off, he looks for finishes on the ground, and the majority of the time he finds finishes on the ground. And this is why I've mentioned in previous videos, it's not the entire fan base. I don't even know what percentage of the fan base it is, but there is a lot of MMA fans that hate fighters because of the region of the world they're from and because of their religion. AKA, they hate Dagestani fighters and they hate fighters who are Muslim, and they'll look for any reason to hate on them. Sometimes they have legitimate reasons to hate on them. But in this case, and this is a video I did a couple years ago, people hate on Islam or Habib or, name any Dagestani that has some grappling that uses, one of their major strengths is grappling. They'll be like, oh, they're so boring. I hate watching them fight. Meanwhile, they're getting finishes. Meanwhile, those same fans, their favorite fighters, Colby Covington, Sean Strickland. Well, wait a second. Those are 2 of the most boring fight styles on the roster. Colby, all he does is hang on for dear life in every fight when he does fight because he's inactive. He only fights like once every 3 years because he's hiding in witness protection, hoping to get an undeserved title shot. Then they like Sean Strickland, who just pumps a jab and does absolutely nothing the entire fight. But beforehand, he makes sure he says, we're going to go to war. We're absolutely going to war. So forgive me when I look at Islam Makhachev, who I consider the elite of the elite, who I love to watch fight, who is out there trying to fight the best at all times. He wants to go for a second belt. And I just see fans crapping on him and hating on him. He wanted to fight Gaethje in March. Again, if he would have beat Gaethje, it would have been Gaethje doesn't have any grappling. Gaethje has no jiu-jitsu, which is true. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make here with these fans who hate the Dagestani fighters, who hate the Muslim fighters, no matter what. And this, I'm not saying this is all of them because I know someone's going to somehow contrive this. One day I'm apparently pandering to, the Muslim MMA fan base. The next I hate them. But what I'm trying to say here is it doesn't matter what Islam does. If Islam beats Dustin Poirier in the first round via KO, he points to the center of the cage and throws down like Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, and slumps him out cold, then dominates Arman, and then he says, I want to move up and fight for a welterweight title. There'll be some reason why he's not worthy of it then. Let me just say this. If Islam Makhachev, like he said in the interview, let's say he plans on beating Dustin Poirier, beating Arman Tsarukyan, and then moving up for a welterweight title, I think he 100% deserves it. 4 title defenses, 2 of them being against one of the greatest of all time in their prime in Alexander Volkanovski. I 100% want to see it. And he's not even saying, oh, that's 100% concrete. He says, oh, if Max wins the title from Topuria, after I beat these 2 guys, maybe I'll fight Max next. So I just want to say, Islam Makhachev, one of the most overhated fighters on the roster for absolutely no reason, to the point you have certain Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts, and to be quite frank, media and YouTube channels, content creators, pandering to that fan base because they know it gets them going. They like to whip them into a frenzy. Islam doesn't want to fight any contenders. I'm tired of hearing this crap. I had to make this video. I thought it was important to make this video. Make sure you go check out the full interview. If you really want to see context, you really want it broken down and see every single word that Islam Makhachev says. But thank you guys for watching. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm tired of hearing this. It's getting out of hand. I want to start backhanding people that are saying this stuff. But let me know what you think. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.